We are the keepers of the flame, the sacred order. Let the ceremony begin. And today, faithful acolytes, we take a look at this.
And what this is from the Hot and Saucy company, which I think is making boutique sauces. We have the garlic pepperoncini, hot and spicy garlic pepperoncini. Most of their other sauces share that same naming nomenclature with the N in the middle, the N right there. Calling it a hot sauce. And mild, yeah, I mean, that's, you couldn't, it'd be, I feel like pretty hard pressed to get much milder than this. And I don't know that I would call this a hot sauce. Yes, it is pepper. I call it pepper sauce. Yeah, pepperoncinis are absolutely peppers. But they're not known for heat. And this, in the hot one season it was in, I thought was incredibly strange because they started with a sauce that is slightly, it's not particularly hot either, but it does have more heat than this. And this was the number 2 sauce. So they went from not very hot to not at all hot in that season. All right, let's take a look at the old ingredients. And we'll get into stuff here momentarily. So we've got the, of course, pepperoncinis. We've got the water, salt, vinegar, citric acid, cilantro, agave, sugar, and garlic. And certainly pepperoncinis as a side pepper. It reminds me a little bit of sport peppers as accompaniments to stuff, to other stuff. And it's kind of like a jarring vinegar hit, I think, to cut down. Usually I see it with richer foods. Although, you know, Greek salads, I see this showing up a lot, the pepperoncinis. And of course, if you look at the written review, I've named out a few other places as well. The link to that, by the way, is in the description below. So, to me, this is a really... I expected to just get this for coverage, and I didn't really have a lot of high hopes for this. And so, looking at the uses, though, and that's another thing, too, is where do you put it, right? So, we've got chicken tacos. I feel it's way too sweet for tacos. Fish, yeah, that and like chicken strips, it's okay-ish, I guess I would say. Pizza, again, also okay-ish. And eggs, this is not a sauce where I find it lends itself well to where I think a sauce should be for eggs. So I would say not eggs, actually. I think the eggs is that's a pretty hard no-go for me. And so here it is, or uses a cooking sauce. That is how we will be using it today. Usually, of course, I like to surprise you guys all when I'm doing cooking, but I'm telling you right now, that's what we're going to be doing. So, all right, let's get us a little sample, though. Let's take a look at it here in the white spoon. Okay, and so yes, it is a not very attractive color. It reminds me a bit of split pea soup. That sort of greenish color, sort of pea green. I don't find this unappealing, though. Not to the level, like, for instance, the El Yucateco, the green habanero, which is a sauce I like better than this. That green I find unappetizing and I don't want to consume it. This green is fine. It looks okay. I don't think this is a visually super attractive color, but I don't find it unappetizing either. You can see it gets a little darker there, sort of towards the middle. And it generally is, I think it's interesting that cilantro is in there, and I'm almost wondering if it is in there for color, because it really doesn't show up in terms of flavor. I'm getting ahead of myself though. So speaking of flavor, let's just get on into that right now. So the first two things you notice, first three things. First is there's no heat. None. This I gave a 0. There's no heat there. And with pepperoncini peppers, about 1 out of every 20, like a shishito, might be actually more, maybe 1 out of every 30, you'll get with just a little bit of spice to it, a little bit of punch. Most of the time it is used as a vinegar dispersal agent, more so than anything. And so here, we get not hot. We get the sweetness, we get a lot of pulpiness there from the peppers, and then we get a back end, a little bit of garlic in there as well. The pepperoncinis to me are not a pepper I like particularly because I don't find them flavorful. They're very thin-walled. I don't think there's just a lot of flavor to be had with those peppers. And address all your hate comments to me, I guess. But that's just my impression over the few decades, that I've been around. And so to make that as the main pepper, I thought was something I was a little leery about, I guess. I think there's sort of a vague pepperoncini flavor here. It is not very forceful. So this is a really odd sauce, I feel like, to be in the Hot One show. And it'll be in the wing thing. It'll be in the Q2 2023 wing thing if you want to check it out. I don't expect great things out of it, though, in there. So from here, let's get on in to using this as a cooking sauce. Okay, so here we are over at the stove. We're gonna knock this on 350. Yeah, so while this is preheating, while we got that preheating, what we're gonna do is let's go over what we're planning on doing here for this. So what we're going to do is we're gonna make garlic bread with shredded beef into a sandwich. Okay, while that's preheating, let's go over what we're gonna do. So we're gonna make garlic cheese bread, 2 different kinds of cheese, and we're gonna ultimately make a garlic cheese bread sandwich with the closest thing I could find to a pulled sort of shredded beef. And the idea here being that there's something called a Mississippi pot roast or something like that, which involves pepperoncinis. So I guess that's kind of what I'm spinning here. I've never had that product. I've never had that dish or anything like that. I have no idea what it's supposed to be like. So I could be getting this completely wrong. But anyway, that's the impetus for this sandwich. So let's get into this. And we're going to go with 2 different kinds of cheese here. And so here's kind of the way that I want to try to test a bunch of stuff with this sauce all at once. And I'm not afraid to use a bunch of it. I'm not afraid to use a bunch of it because, like I said, I am not anticipating that it is going to be a particularly great sauce for chicken wings. So, all right, we're going to do some markers here. So let's do this. Grab my magic spoon. And what we're going to do is we're just going to... All right. So this is how we're going to use this as cooking sauce. And the thing here with this, we'll save some more for the sound. Just get this out of here. The thing with this is we're not actually cooking anything. All we're doing is melting the cheese. So we're going to do one with mozzarella. And we'll do this one right here. Oh, I got these toothpicks to mark this, and then, of course, what do? First thing I don't do is I don't mark it. All right, so So we're going to be testing a couple things here. The first thing here is, does this work in this situation? And if so, with which cheese? The mozzarella, or we've got cheddar as well. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys like on your garlic cheese bread. If you buy it in stores, you know, like the grocery store or whatever, most of the time, like the Red Baron or whatever, uses mozzarella. And I think maybe Parmesan or something also. I think they use a blend. And okay, that should be plenty of cheese for that. Just gonna do this while we're waiting for the old oven to heat up. And I should be spreading this hot sauce around. I meant to do that, and then I got my spoon to spread it around, and then I promptly forgot, so I guess we won't. Alright, let's try to get this nice and evenly distributed here. A bit more. It's important to get it all over your stove when you're doing this. And the tin foil, obviously. Like, that's the main thing that you want to try to do here. Okay, so let's get the cheese off the hot stove. And, alright, so once this oven heats up, we're going to throw it in there for 10 to 15 minutes. In the meanwhile, we're going to heat up the beef, and I will meet you back at the table. And voila! We're back. So, cheddar on this side, obviously mozzarella on this side, and so let's do this. Just split these. My handy dandy bread knife. All right, and I'll split this one. Okay, and this can go over here, and this can go over here. These two we'll save for another time. Okay, and so we've got the mozzarella and the cheddar here. So we're going to have these just very soft bread. Very soft. All right, or my knife's not sharp enough on it too. All right, so here we go with the cheddar and the sauce just by itself. Wow, that is really interesting. So I kept half without, in case I didn't like it here. And I could still try to have the sandwich, but I don't think that's going to be necessary. This is actually pretty good. Now, if you're not buying it already garlic buttered, and you put your own garlic butter on, I would say to use a lot. Use a lot of garlic butter if you're going to throw this on. The sweetness is interesting, but this is a sauce that is more sweet than anything else. With both the sugar and the agave in there. And that is the notes I'm getting a lot of this. Because grocery stores, I'm sure they're doing their best, but for me, they're not putting enough. They don't put anywhere near enough garlic butter on the actual bread. All right. But I don't really buy or use butter anymore. So me getting it, in fact, last butter I had probably a couple of years ago, I had to throw out because it started spotting before I actually got around to using it. So I'm not gonna. There's limits. There's limits to what I'll do for these videos, I guess. But see, look at this. The cheese just coming right down the side. That's nice. All right. Really interesting dynamic here. The milder cheese is not anywhere near blending as well as this the stronger tasting cheddar is. So far, the garlic cheese bread is by far the best use I've found for this. Obviously, cooking with it is very loose because I just threw it on some bread that I basically threw in the oven. Everything's already pre-prepared. I just threw it in there long enough to melt cheese, well, a little bit longer, but get the outside nice and crunchy. It's hard to say that is me cooking with it. And I bring in this nice shredded beef. Obviously, I didn't cook with this either. And I didn't look really closely at the recipes for whatever Mississippi hot roast is. I didn't look closely at all at that. So I don't know if there's actually a sweet component to it or not. I would suspect not. But it does seem to be an actual recipe that relies on pepperoncini, so I might be off on that. Most of the time, like I said, you know, you're a Papa John's pizza, right? Which I don't do because I think their pizza is garbage. Even before it also became pretty clear that the owner was garbage as well, or the former owner or whatever he is. But that was one of the things I remember most about them was them throwing in, along with those little garlic butter dipping things that they had, they also would throw on pepperoncinis. And often the pepperoncinis were the best part of that. So if you order a pizza and the best part is a garnish, probably don't need to order that pizza anymore. So anyway, though, like I was saying, most of the times you see pepperoncinis, that it is as a vinegar dispersal. So there's not really any sweetness as a part of any of that. I want to be careful. I want to be careful saucing this because there's really nothing left for this to soak into. So I've probably got enough in here left for probably a couple wing things at least. Although I don't know how well it's going to be on wings. That might just be one and out, but I don't know when you're going to be viewing this, but that will be in the Q2 2023 wing thing. And of course, all the wing things are at the end of every quarter. So as I film this, of course, it's been a bit since the Q1 2023 wing thing was done, which was incidentally one of the hottest wing things I've ever done. All right, so I'm just going to cut this part that's already broken because I don't want to have it go everywhere. So let's. Okay. All right. I should have tried this on the beef solo. I didn't do a very good job splitting this bread, I guess. All right. Very highly caloric video today. We got two different kinds of cheese for the garlic cheese bread. This nice Italian baguette. loaded with, I assume it's butter and not margarine. So on, so forth. Since we're not obviously going to get any heat at all out of this, it's really going to be about flavor. And it was interesting with the cheddar. So the cheddar garlic cheese bread with the sauce was interesting. The mozzarella I did not find super enjoyable though. This one here is a bit chaotic for me to kind of get a grasp on. Oh, crumbly bread. All right. Here's what it looks like. Hopefully I got enough sauce on it. I might need to add more. We'll see. This reminded me when I did that the video for the High River. I think it was Hellacious, and I had a crab deli sandwich. Bread is very similar. My goodness. Except they obviously didn't toast theirs. Wow, that is really good. Got a nice saltiness to that beef, which does a nice job of offsetting this. Working with that garlic cheese bread there. Oh man. This sandwich is delicious. A lot of bread. Wow, that pot roast beef, I didn't expect it to be as good as it is. It has a solid flavor to it. Quite good. How about this bottom heel? This isn't working for me too well. There's only so much I'm willing to fight sandwiches. So we're gonna take that part, put that over there. And I don't know how fresh this bread was when I got it. One of the other issues with sort of grocery store garlic bread, I'm almost 100% sure this is partially stale before I got it. Obviously throwing it in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes certainly did not help that matter a whole lot. Alright. Much better. Never gonna make it as a competitive eater if I can't get through that, I guess. I'm not trying to be a competitive eater, to be clear. Wow, this is good. I wish though it is very, very rich. Very rich. So, shredded beef plus cheese and this garlic bread this is a rich sandwich. I wish this were less sweet. I wish that the entire time, to be honest. This is a sauce I find borderline cloying. That's a good sandwich though. Spread is not great, but the sandwich itself is good. I don't know if anybody else out there does that. Let me know. Let me know if you guys are also making garlic cheese bread so you can use it for sandwiches. Definitely a way to pack a lot of calories at once. Carb up. Holy moly, I got to be a struggle there at the end. All right. This is another one of the sauces. I just don't know what they're trying to do here. Garlic and pepperoncini, I guess, work well together, but it is such a sweet sauce. And sweet garlic is, I think, I like the caramelized, that tinge of sweetness when you get the Maillard effect, right? But I don't know that I like it to this extent where you have sugar and agave, and it is just hyper sweet. And there's not a lot of stuff to offset that. I mean, garlic's there and it shows up, but really more as an aftertaste. And the pepperoncinis just aren't. You know, it says on the dialogue it gives you heat. Maybe if I warmed the sauce up, it would. You know, it got a little bit of heat, and temperature-wise, I guess, from the bread and the beef there. But this does not have any piquancy to it. It just doesn't. This is not a hot sauce. It just isn't. There's no calling it a hot sauce. I feel is kind of misnamed, and I don't understand what they were trying to go with here. Because trying to find places to put this, it worked okay there. And if I would add a smaller sandwich, it probably would have worked better. A lot of richness all at once. and that's the thing, is you have to kind of keep playing around with this to figure out where it goes. And it's not, to me, it's not that good of a flavored sauce to be worthwhile to do that. You know, maybe if I had some actual pepperoncinis and I try to do something with those together, maybe then, I don't know. This is definitely not one of my favorite sauces from the show. And I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting sauce, but it really is just more of a sauce to me than an actual hot sauce, given that there is no heat to be found anywhere in this. So, and I guess that, that's probably the best place to just leave this, is that it's calling itself a hot sauce, and to me, it is not a hot sauce. There's nothing in there that gives it any heat whatsoever. I kind of some days wish I had a panel of people normies that weren't chili heads that I could give stuff to see what their impressions of it would be. But I wouldn't be afraid at all of causing them any anguish with the sauce. Just that there's no heat there at all. So yeah, I don't know. It's another one of those mystery sauces that I think they're going for a gourmet thing, and maybe they're hitting that. I don't know. Not a big fan of pepperoncinis to begin with. Like I said, I probably got another one or two wing things into this. If it's not good in the Q2, though, honestly, this is probably going to the bin, because this sauce, as far as I'm concerned, has been definitely a lot more trouble than it's been worth. So we'll just leave it there. So there it is, the hot, saucy, garlic, pepperoncini. Hot sauce. Now go forth in peace to serve the flame